and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny and you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Honeybird Studio. Today I have a standard issue podcast episode. I believe this is episode 31, if my notes are correct, if I wrote down the right number. This episode's been a bit of an ordeal for me to get out, so I'm gonna not waffle on too much about my issues that I've had with this one. Fingers crossed this is up by Friday. Yes, hopefully you'll be seeing this on Friday. August 15th, I think, is what it is. Anyways, so I have 8 finished objects to show today and 5 works in progress. And then I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about at the end of the episode. The winner of the giveaway that I had for the last episode, I actually pulled 2 winners because it's been so long. I felt bad. So I'm like, there's gonna be 2 winners from the previous episode, from the comments. And then I have a Knitalong announcement as well. So that'll be at the end of the episode. But for now, I guess, yeah, I'll just get started with, sorry, I keep talking with my hands. I will start with finished objects. So I have a bunch of socks to show. I have 4 pairs of socks that I have started and finished, I guess, since the last time. I think some of them were works in or at least one of them was a work in progress, maybe 2 of them, the last time I filmed. And the other 2 I definitely cast on and off in between last episode and now. So I'll start, okay, how is it? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and I'm working on my August socks right now. So technically I have already finished 7 pairs of socks this year, and I'm working on my 8th pair right now. So anyways, the first pair of socks that I want to show are these ones here. And I didn't technically follow a pattern for these, but these are inspired by the color palette socks that I had seen on Ravelry some time ago. It's a free pattern, so I could have gone and downloaded the pattern and followed the instructions for it, but I went off of like my own memory of the pattern, and I feel like I got close, but I didn't do the twisted ribbing. I didn't do the 1x1 twisted rib. I just did standard 1x1 rib. I think the the half twisted rib would have looked better. In hindsight, I went back and I looked at the pattern pictures and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely, like, the knit stitches were definitely twisted. So I think it was a half twisted rib on these sections here. But anyways, so I have 2 matching socks, and this was kind of me using up some leftovers that I had, like odds and ends. I had maybe like 10 grams or so of each of these bluish purpley, well, I guess it's like bluish, they're all in the blue family, I would say. There's some purple in this one, there's some like mixture in this one here, oh sorry, some mixture of colors in here, and then this one here has a bit of green. Anyways, so the yarn that I used for this is, okay, I'm gonna have to go off of memory here. The main color, the white, is from Polka Dot Creek. I believe it was just a bare undyed yarn, sock yarn. And then, let me think here. I believe this one, and this one are all from Stranded Dye Works from forever many years ago. I bought a mini set from them. Oh gosh, it would have been like 2018 maybe. And I had knit, I knit like fingerless gloves or something, so I had a bunch of leftovers. So it was just enough to get 3 of the stripes in this sock. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 of the stripes. And then this one here and this one are from, oh, this middle one is also from Stranded Dye Works. I believe it was all part of a set. Oh, no, it's not part of a set. This was Ocean Rainbow or something watercolor, maybe? Sorry, I honestly can't remember. It's been, excuse me, it's been so long. But I know the sparkly ones, the ones that have the stellina in them. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. There's like, oh, Come on, focus. And there's a little bit of sparkle in there. Those ones are from Hidden Pond Yarns, and those were leftovers from my Tassel Tango shawl that I knit however many years ago that was. So yeah, so this was a great little project to use up my scraps of yarn. I got quite a few of the little odds and ends out of my stash of, like, I have a Ziploc bag that I put all my little odds and ends. Anything that's more than like 2 grams, but less than, say, 15 or 20, I put it all in a Ziploc bag, and those end up being like odds and ends that I can use for socks, essentially. Like for heels and toes and cuffs if I want to. Or like I did with this sock, make it into stripes. So yeah, so that's my, what was this one? Would have been January, February, March, April, May? Actually, I should tag these for which month that they were supposed to be, but that's okay. So that's my first pair of socks that I knit. My second pair of socks is this one here, is this pair here. And this one, again, I didn't follow a pattern. I just kind of like, I kind of have like a sock recipe. I use 2.25 millimeter needles, and I cast on 64 stitches, and I usually do 16 rounds of 2x2 rib. Oh, sorry. 2x2 rib. And then for this sock, I decided to do a 3x1 broken rib. There's something about broken rib that looks very satisfying to me. I really like the way that, I don't know, there's just something about it that looks really clean, if that makes sense. The yarn that I used for this was a gift from my friend Faith. She is the host of the Fiber Fables podcast. It's been a while since she's uploaded anything, but she is over on Instagram as well as the.redhead.knits. And so she sent me for my birthday, I think it was last year. Was it last year? Or the year before? She sent me a sock set by Alexandra Art of Yarn. And this was, so it came with, the main color was this like super vibrant pink, and then the mini skein was this deeper purple. And I think, let's see, it's, the main color is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And then the cuff and the toes are 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. So I had hummed and hawed about what I wanted to do with this mini skein, or with this set of yarn, because I was originally going to do a shawl, but I thought that maybe the hot pink would be a bit too much for up here, or this like very vibrant pink. So I decided to do a pair of socks. So I like having a pop of color on my socks, and this is definitely a pop of color. I guess the other thing I can say about this is that I always do a heel flap and gusset. So I always do, I split my stitches in half, so 32 stitches for the heel flap, and then I do a slip stitch heel. So just a, oops, come on, standard slip stitch heel, and then I do the, you know, the heel turn, pick up the stitches on the gusset and decrease the stitches out. And yeah, it just, I love like blocked socks. They look so pristine. I haven't worn any of these because I want to, well, one, it's too hot because it's the summer, and two, I don't want to wear them until I show them on the podcast. So yeah, so that's my second pair of socks that I finished since the last episode. Okay, I'll just like power through these. The next pair of socks is, again, just no pattern, using my standard sock recipe. I had some leftovers of yarn from Midknit Cravings. I believe this is a colorway called Wine Knot, the purple here. So I did the cuff, the heel, and the toes in the Wine Knot color. And then this one here, the main color is, I can't remember the name of the colorway, but I believe this was a yarn that I picked up from Rose Hill Yarns many years ago at Knit City. And it was originally, I think I knit most, well, not most of it, half of the skein went into a Nurture bralette that I knit a couple of years ago. And then I had enough left over for a pair of socks. And so, like a pair of socks, assuming that I did the heels, toes, and cuffs in a different color. But then when I finished these, I ended up having like another 20 grams left of this. Like I feel like the skein must have had more than 100 grams in it, because I feel like I've already gotten 2 whole projects, and then I still have like 15 to 20 grams left over. So maybe I can use it for stripes in another pair of socks. But yeah, the pattern I chose for this one, or like the stitch pattern that I ended up doing, is a 6x2 broken rib. And I really like the way that looks too. I don't know, like I said, there's something about broken rib that just looks really nice. I'm not sure. I think I like the 3x1 broken rib more than the 6x2. But I wanted to make sure I was doing it in multiples or whatever that fits into 64. So the 3x1 looks like that. No, come on, get my face out of there. 3x1 looks like that, and then the 6x2 looks like that. Oh, so I do like the way that this looks. I don't know, just broken rib in general. But I think, I think when it's on my feet though, I think I prefer the look of the 3x1 broken rib. And so I feel like going forward, if I'm going to be making socks just for the sake of making socks, if I'm going to be making socks just for the sake of making socks and getting yarn out of my stash, like especially when it comes to like variegated stuff like this, I think I will opt to either do the 3x1 broken rib or the 6x2 broken rib. I would lean more towards the 3x1, just because I don't know, I like that better. And the other thing I would probably not do is the contrast heel. I think, looking at the socks that I've made, I think I prefer when it's not a contrast color on the heel, because the way that the heel flap construction is, I don't know, it just doesn't look as neat, or not neat. It doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing as, like, say, an afterthought heel or a short row heel, because it kind of, I don't know how to describe it other than it looks, I like the other heels better. They look more, oh my gosh, what's the word? Symmetrical, I guess? Like, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know if those heels would fit me well, because this fits me so well that I can't imagine a different shape fitting my heel as well as this one does. So I've just always done heel flap and gusset. Maybe someday I'll venture out and do an afterthought heel or fish lips kiss or German short row heels, shadow wrap heels. There's like a billion different heels that I could do, but that'll be a future endeavor. Okay, so the last pair of socks that I finished is this pair here. And this yarn was also a gift from a friend of mine, Yasmin, and she is known as Burst of Creativity on Instagram. And I think we were on a call. We were on a Zoom, or not a Zoom call. We were on like an Instagram call some time ago. It must have, well, I feel like it was just yesterday, but it was probably like a couple months ago. And she had, we were kind of showing each other yarn and stuff. And she had shown this set, which was this purple and then this kind of really cool, almost like watercolor pinks, blues, and purples. And I had made a comment of like, oh my gosh, those colors look so good together. What are you going to make with it? And she's like, oh, I don't know, maybe something. I was like, oh, okay, well, let me know when you make it, because I want to see how it works up. And then she sent me mail, and when I opened the mail, she had sent me this yarn. And I was like, oh my God. I don't know. I was like speechless. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to knit with this. Because I was like, I knew right away I wanted to knit a pair of socks. And I wanted to try something totally different for the pattern on this one. And, oh, right. And then the yarn, I asked her, because there was no labels on the yarn, so I asked her if she remembered where it was from. And she said it was from Ravenswood Fiber Co. I think is what they're called. And yeah, so it was a set with a mini skein of this purple and then a full skein of this stuff here. And so again, I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles, and I played around with different stitches, like different stitch patterns. And I came up with this kind of checkerboard thing going on with a slip stitch separating each of the checkers. So let me see if I can like separate it like this. Sorry, my zoom is being a little wonky. Come on. So it's not terribly obvious, but there's like like checkerboard of pearls and knits. In hindsight, I probably should have done like garter, like garter in the part where it's pearls instead of the pearls. That might have looked better. It also might have fit differently, because I feel like these, because of the amount of slip stitches and pearls in this, it does fit a little bit more snug than I'm used to, but that's okay, because like you want to have negative ease for socks, and I feel like over time they are gonna, you know, stretch out. The one thing I noticed is that like on the foot part, I generally have to knit 70 rounds before I start the toe to fit my foot size. I think on this one I had to go up to like 76 rounds. I think it was like two extra repeats than I would have otherwise, and I think it's just because of the nature of the stitches in the socks. So yeah, so just a little adjustment that I had to make it work. But yeah, so these are those socks. Very excited about these. And I did not do a contrast heel. Like I said, I think I'm kind of, I don't know, I don't really care for the look of the contrast heel. I think it looks better when it's all one color through the foot, or sorry, the leg and the foot here, and then having a contrast heel, or sorry, contrast cuff and toe is what I prefer. So just like one last look at all these glorious socks here. You kind of see I kind of fell into a color palette. No pun intended. I was doing just random stuff here, and then all of a sudden I was pulling out all of my pinks and purples for my socks. So I have like look at all these. Wonderful. Pink and purple, and then I've got these blue ones. Bluish, green, whatever. But yeah, so that is all of my socks that I finished. So that's 4 pairs of socks, and now I have 4 garments that I want to show. So I'll start with the one that I finished. I'll go in order of when I finished them. I think I've lined them up in the order that I finished them. So in my last video, you would have seen this is the Ancient Orchid, and this is a pattern by Daku. And I knit this up in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. Let me just get this on a hanger so I can like show it a little bit better. So this is, sorry, I'll show you the yarn first. So Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the sunflower colorway. And I only used, I think it was like just under 2 balls of the pure silk. So, oh, come on, focus. Oh, my, I don't know. I've been playing around with the focus on my camera, and it seems to be a little bit wonky, but you kind of get an idea of what it looks like here. So the modifications, okay, yeah, I will talk about the modifications I made to this first. I think I talked about my gauge issues or fit issues when I initially started knitting this. I think this was the 3rd time that I actually cast it on, and then I finally finished it. The first 2 times the gauge was off, it didn't fit, I made too many modifications too fast, and that's totally my fault for not gauge swatching and trying to modify things that I didn't fully understand. So in the end, the only modification I technically made to this was the back. Instead of doing what's in the pattern, I picked up stitches along here, and then I cast on the number of stitches I needed for the back, and then I picked up the stitches here, and then what I did was I knit 1 by 1 ribbing for 8 rows, I think. And then I went on to do the, like, what's in the pattern, what's actually in the pattern. And so, yeah, it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with the overall look of this. The overall look and fit of this, honestly. I had to go down. I did have to go down a needle size or two, and I went down in the pattern size. I'm sure if I measure my gauge, because again, I didn't do a gauge swatch, and I still haven't even measured what my gauge actually is, but I just, all said and done, I had to go down to the smallest size, and I had to go down a smaller set of needles in order to make this yarn work for me and my size. And it was a lot of trial and error, and it's okay. For me, I don't mind spending the time. You know, if I, like what was it? I got all the way to connecting under the arms, only to find out that it was not the right size. And I can understand I can understand that some people, like, that would be very not good. I mean, obviously, it's never fun when you're knitting something and it doesn't fit when you go to try it on. For me, I don't mind spending the time taking it apart and redoing it. I don't have very many other hobbies outside of knitting, so most of my time is spent knitting, and I feel like it's kind of a win-win situation where it's like, okay, I spent 10 hours knitting on this thing and now I gotta tear it out and re-knit it. It's like I just get to knit again with the yarn that I really like to knit and the pattern I really like to work on, kind of thing. If that makes sense, I don't know. I feel like I'm almost getting like twice the amount of entertainment. But I don't know. That's kind of a silly thing to say. But that's just how I look at it. Like, I'm not upset if I have to tear something out and do it again. It's just, I have a lot of patience, and yeah, I don't mind. So anyways, all that to say, what else can I say about this? Actually, I don't think I made any other modifications aside from the back. And then I did I do think I did something different under the arms than was written in the pattern, because I misunderstood when she mentioned about putting the stitches on hold. And I don't know, there was something weird on my end, on my interpretation of the instructions, that I didn't understand until after I got back to that point to seam it up. And I was like, oh, I think I misread the instructions, and I'm gonna have to do something slightly different, but still worked out. So anyways, I feel like I've talked a lot about nothing in the last 2 minutes. But yeah, so the pattern was really nice. I would love to knit it again. I think the knitting for Olive Pure Silk was really nice to work with. I really enjoyed it, and I would love to knit more future garments in this. I bought this last year, but I didn't use it until this year, until this project. And I definitely think for next summer, this is going to be one of my top summer yarns. I think I will probably be looking at patterns that use this yarn. Well, I guess not necessarily. Any pattern that uses this weight of yarn really will work. So the next finished garment is the Rota jumper. And this is a pattern by Irene Lin. And this is like my 7th time knitting it, I think. Or the 7th time I've knit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, maybe it's my 6th time. My 6th time knitting it. And the yarn that I used is Karen Cotton Funnel Cake. Oh yeah, I've got the thing here. So before I show it to you. So I got these on clearance. I did not pay $15. I bought like 5 of them for maybe $4 a piece. Maybe $5. They were on clearance, so I grabbed all the ones that were in there. Like years ago. This would have been like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It feels like it was forever ago. In any case. So this is my Rota jumper. And oh my gosh, I love it. I have worn this a number of times. I mostly wear it like inside, because even though it is cotton, it is like a worsted weight cotton. It's pretty heavy. I did wear it out one morning over a dress, and it was great until it got warmer in the afternoon, and then I had to take this off. But that's kind of one of the things I like about wearing garments over dresses, or like over a camisole and a skirt, is I can just take it off, throw it in my purse. I have a pretty, well, no, I don't have a purse. I have like a tote bag that I carry around with me everywhere. But yeah, so this, I believe, it didn't take me very long to knit this. I really enjoy this pattern, and this was actually, it's funny because, like I said, I've knit this like 5 times before, and I always used a cable needle to do the 1x1 crosses. And when that was like, what, I knit my last one like 3 years ago, and so knitting this one this year, I was like, you know what, a 1x1 cable cross can't be that hard to do without a cable needle. And so I did my best, and it took me a little bit of, well, this yarn made it easy for me to do the 1x1 cable cross because it has like texture to it. I don't know if you'd be able to tell there, but like the yarn itself is a little bit like wobbly, if that makes sense. And so when you take it off the needles to rearrange the stitches for the 1x1 cross, they just kind of sit there and they don't pull apart. Maybe that's just the nature of the cotton. Like, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's not a mercerized cotton. I wonder if it says on here what kind of cotton it is. I think it just says cotton. It's just 100% cotton. But it's not like other cotton that I've used where it's like really slippery. This was very much grippy cotton, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's cropped. And so it does sit above, like, at my waist. And like if I go like this, it does kind of like ride up a bit. But I know if I made it any longer, it would look kind of weird. Because yeah, I want it to be cropped over top of skirts and dresses. I've yet to wear it with shorts, but I feel like it would probably work with a pair of shorts as well. Yeah. I don't think I made any modifications. But I think I just realized that I did something. I'm gonna have to point this out in a work in progress, but yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this pattern other than I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's my 6th time knitting it. And it works really well with a lot of stuff in my wardrobe. I have a lot of pink. Like a lot of my dresses are like white, beige, black. I have like a dark navy blue and like a couple other dresses that just pink as an accessory looks really good over top of them. So, and I will be continuing the trend of pink because my next finished object is not too far off from the Rota jumper. This is the Rota sleeveless top. And this is also by Irene Lin. This is basically the sleeveless version of the Rota jumper. And this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh, I loved knitting this. Knowing that I didn't have to knit sleeves made this go so much more fast. So much more fast? So much faster? I'm very good at my words today. But yeah, so this, I bought the yarn, I bought it from Black Sheep Yarns, I think. And I was in the store for like an hour before I decided on what I wanted to knit. And I saw, I was looking at this pattern, and I looked up if people had used the Sandnes Garn Lena. And so this is the yarn that I bought, was the, oh, come on, Sandnes Garn Lena. And the color that I chose, I think it's like raspberry or something. Yeah, raspberry pink. And I bought like I bought 6 skeins of this, thinking that that's how much I needed for my size. And I actually did do a gauge swatch for this project. And I got gauge on the right, was it the right size needle, or did I have to go down? Because I feel like I cast on with the needles in the pattern and surprisingly got gauge, because I'm like, oh, normally with Irene Lin, I don't hit gauge on the recommended needles. So I was like, well, it's a good thing I did a gauge swatch, because otherwise I probably would have just gone down a needle size just for the sake of it. But yeah, so that is this. And I've worn this a couple of times over, I have a white dress and a black dress, and I feel like this just goes really well with either one of them. I guess it depends on what my aesthetic for the day is. If I want to be like a little bit more, I don't know, I don't, almost not like gothy, but like I wear my black dress with this on top and then like get my black purse and my black shoes on. I feel like just a pop of color, but being like a little dark and moody. Or if I want to feel like light and airy, I wear it over top of a white dress with my white shoes. It's I've been having a lot of fun with my summer knit wardrobe this year. As you can tell, I'm wearing, I forgot to mention what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Fleur Cami by Brianna Mason, and this is the one that I knit last year, or one of the ones that I knit last year, and I finally finished it this year. But yeah, I'm just wearing like a black cami underneath because it is a little see-through. But anyways, yeah, so this is the vest or sleeveless top. Oh, and like I said, I bought 6 skeins, but I only used 3 full skeins and maybe a third of a 4th skein. But now I know I would buy this yarn again. I would buy the Sandus Garnlina in more colors and knit more of these because it's such a cute top, and it would be so great for like a bathing suit cover up as well. Like you could technically knit this like the body as long as you want and make it like a bathing suit, like a beach cover up kind of thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, what is the Sandus Garnlina? It is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, 14% linen. Okay, yeah. It was so nice to work with. I really like this yarn. I would absolutely knit with it again. So I'm looking forward to, like, next summer. I feel like now that I've used some new to me yarns, I now know what I want to use going into summer next year. So I'm excited about that, to get, to try to knit this yarn again in other projects. But yeah, so that's that. And my last finished object, I had to think about that. My last finished object is a pattern that I kind of came up with myself based on a top that I have in my wardrobe. If you watched my last video, I did talk more about this, but this is what I'm calling my Dreamcatcher top. So this is the front. There's not much, like, it's a little bit wrinkly. There's not much, going on in the front here. But the fun part is actually the back. So it's got this like layered, or like this wrapped part on the back. And then it's got a tie at the top here to kind of keep the top from falling open at the back. Because that's kind of, it's similar to what the top in my wardrobe has. It just has a band of fabric going across, and I thought making the I-cord tie would be nice. Oh, I got an end that I gotta weave in there. But yeah, so I basically knit this. Oh, right. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. The yarn that I used is Cascade Yarns Botanica. This is a new to me yarn I purchased specifically for this. Well, yeah, no, specifically for another project, but then that project fell through, so I decided to do this instead. And so basically what I did was I just started, I was measuring the top that I have and casting on a number of stitches and trying to figure out the rate of increase here on the arms, on the sleeves, I guess, or the armholes, and the increase of the neckline here. And then also like trying to figure out the increase rate on the back as well. It was quite a process. I had initially wanted to film a project vlog of me doing this pattern again in different yarn and actually going through the steps, or like the whole process of the design. But the summer just got really busy for me. I was basically away every other weekend, and I just didn't have time or like brain space to be doing math for pattern writing. Anyways, sorry, I'm like all over the place. So this is the top. I think I made it a little bit, I don't remember if I made it shorter or longer than it needed to be. It was one or the other, but in any case, I think it still works. I wear this with a pair of shorts. Like, I have like 3 different pairs of shorts that I've worn this with, and I think it looks fine. The only issue that I have is like, I'm gonna have to do something to change this part here, because basically what I did was I knit everything flat. So I knit the front panel, and then I picked up here and knit the left, what is that, the left back panel, and then I knit the right back panel, or vice versa, one or the other. And then what I did was I Kitchener stitched, I think. Kitchener? I don't know. In any case, it didn't really work out, so it kind of rolls up in the back, which is fine. I'm not like super bummed about it, but I know going forward, when I do get around to doing this pattern again, I will make some adjustments there. I already have ideas in my head of what I want to do to change that. And so I think I'll just have to do some swatches and just to see what would work better than having this attached like that. Like, I'm thinking I would just knit an extra repeat on one panel and then do the Kitchener stitch on the front part here so that it lays flat and like it rolls with the right side facing as opposed to the wrong side facing. So that's like the idea that I have for that. Okay, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm out of breath. Oh yeah, like look at all these. I have a theme going on. It's like all my pinks. These are like all different shades of pinks. And then my socks were like pink and purple for the most part. Oh, I guess I did have my yellow Ancient Orchid. Anyways, so those are all my finished objects at the moment. It's kind of crazy to see all this laid out because I feel like I've been knitting more on socks than anything this summer. But a lot of these I finished like early last month, I guess. Was it in July? Yeah, I still have a number of works in progress. So let's get into works in progress. Okay, sorry if I've changed positions. I had to get up and get all my stuff ready. Okay, so I think what I'll start with is my August socks. And yeah, I think, yeah. I was just thinking, I'm like, did I finish the sock or is it a half finished object? No, I was so close to finishing the toe. All right, so these are my, oh, they're all wrapped up. Nope, they're all caught up. Come here. These were my August socks. So far, I'm literally at the toe. I probably have like 20 minutes left of work on not even 20 minutes left of work on this, but this is what I've got so far. Kind of hard to show while it's still on the needles, but this one I did a 3x1 rib, so not a broken rib, but like just a straight rib, like a, yeah. And I'm not sure I like it. I think once it's blocked, this will open up, and obviously like when I have it on my feet, it'll open up and show the purl ridge. I'm just not, I don't know. I almost feel like these fit a little too tight because of the ribbing. But we'll see. I mean, I've only tried them on without pre-blocking or like without having blocked them yet. So I'm sure that once they're blocked, that they'll, I don't know, maybe just feel better on my feet. So I really like the way that the variegated yarn kind of worked out. I mean, there's a little, yeah, color pooling going on, which is fine, but I think it looks really cool. The yarn that I used is a little bit of hand dyed from myself, and then what is this? Okay, well, I'll talk about this one first. So this one is, I bought bare yarn, like just a standard fingering weight yarn from a yarn shop, the yarn shop that I used to work at years ago, and I used food coloring to dye this. It was quite the experiment. I followed a tutorial that I found on YouTube. I think it was by Chem Knits, I want to say. I'm certain. She has so many various ways of how to dye yarn. And this was the most accessible one to me at the time, which was using food coloring. And I really like the way that it turned out. Like, it's just blues, pinks, and purples. And maybe like a little bit of green, like almost like a tealish color in there. But this is what it looked like in the like when it was skeined up before I caked it up. It looked really cool. And then once you cake it up, it kind of, you know, gets all over the place like that. So that's the main color. And then the contrast color for the cuff and toes is this that I had left over from a pair of socks that I knit earlier this year. This is Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock, and I believe the colorway was called Wisteria. And so I had a lot left over. I made a full pair of socks, and I technically, well, I will definitely have more than enough left over to do heels, to do cuffs and toes on another pair of socks. So yeah. So there, I don't know, there's not much else to talk about. It's just a standard pair of socks. 3x1 ribbing, slip stitch heel. And yeah. I will probably finish the toe as I'm editing this video. So yeah, I was so close to having this as a half finished object, but I didn't quite get there. That's fine. Oh my gosh, it's still all tangled up on itself. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's my August pair of socks. And so we're almost halfway through August, so I'm on track. I'll definitely finish this pair of socks for sure. And we'll see if I do enjoy the 3x1 rib. So far, I don't like the look of it pre-blocking, but we'll see if it looks better once I've blocked the socks. And obviously it's going to be on my feet inside shoes anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. Anyways, the next work in progress I have is my Fleur Cami. And this is a pattern by Brianna Mason. So this is the third iteration that I've knit. So the first one was a pink cami. This one that I'm wearing is green, and this one is black. So my third one is black. I feel like I've gotten so close on so many of my projects to finishing that I just didn't quite get there. But how can I show this? I just have the back left panel to do. I've got lots of yarn hanging around. So yeah, I guess I'll hold it like this. I'll hold the needles. Yeah. Okay. I would put it on a hanger, but I don't think that would really help. So, oh yeah, come on. Oh, yeah, it's going to be really hard to show because it's black and lacy. But essentially, I'm knitting this, I think I'm knitting it on 2.5 millimeter needles. Is that what I'm knitting it on? 2.5 millimeter knitting needles. And I'm knitting the second size, I believe. Yeah, it would be the second size. Because I think the first one I knit was on 2.25 millimeter needles, and it was the third size, and it ended up too wide. This one that I'm wearing, I knit on 2.5 millimeter needle. No, what was it? No, I knit the first one on 2.5 at a size 3. No, that's wrong. I don't remember. Now I'm confusing myself. But in any case, whatever the combination was of this one, this had to have been the size 2 with a 2.25 millimeter needle, because this one fits. It's just a little bit more, I don't know. I just wish there was maybe just a little bit more positive ease, like in this part. But now I'm looking at it on camera, it actually looks pretty decent. In any case, for this, my current one, I knit it on 2.5 millimeter needles for the size 2, hoping that I would get just a little bit more ease with it. So I have tried this on, and it does seem to fit so far, but I still need to finish it and block it. I feel like blocking will also help with this. What did I do here? Oh yeah, so I did the straps wrong initially because I misremembered the instructions, and I only knit 1.5 inches instead of 3 inches. So what I did was I just knit 1.5 inches on the front panel, and then I knit 1.5 inches on the back panel, and then I Kitchener stitched them together. Or no, sorry, I did a 3 needle bind off. So I think it'll be fine. I did leave myself quite an extra length of yarn just in case I have to lengthen the straps like I did with this one. The straps on this one I knit like 1/2 inch too short, and thankfully I had left myself enough yarn to knit another like centimeter or like 1/2 inch or so. And now this, I feel like this fits nicely. The one that I'm knitting right now, this one, the straps are technically longer, so I think like this part will come down further, because I don't mind the high, like this being up this high, but I feel like it would look better if it was just a little bit lower. So I'm hoping that's how this one's going to turn out, because I did knit extra length on this as well. I did I think 2 extra repeats in the body, so it's a little bit longer in the body than the one that I'm currently wearing. So we'll see how this one turns out, if I can untangle myself. The yarn that I'm using for this one is the Maurice Brassard Cotton, so it's like a cotton linen blend. You're not gonna be able to see it. It's black yarn, very thin on a cone. It's very, very thin. I think it's technically supposed to be weaving thread, but I want to knit with it, so that's what I've done. All right, so that is my Fleur cami. Put that there. Okay, my next work in progress is the Skyline Tee, and this is a pattern by Tori Yu, and I've gotten really far on this. I'm literally just on the hem. So let's see. So it's kind of, it looks a lot shorter on the camera, but I'm certain I knit it to the specified length, and I did try it on, and I'm thinking once I block it, it will just grow like maybe a ½ an inch or so in length. Sorry, let me just get this here. Okay, so this is what I got. I think maybe it's just because it's on really small needles that it's bunching it up like that. But yeah, this is what it looks like so far. And the yarn that I used for this is, again, that Maurice Brassard Cotton. So I've got this cone of like seafoam, kind of bluish green. Not even, it's like more like a minty seafoam color. And then I paired it with this, what is this called? It's this thing here. Make it Rico, what is this? Rico Design Creative Make It Tweed. Oh, it's not gonna focus, is it? All right. But yeah, it's like this little thing of tweed yarn. It's very thin yarn, essentially, that has these like little blips of tweed flex, I guess. And so holding those two together gets me this outcome, which is like an all over tweed look. And the tweedy bits are blue, like navy, pink, and like salmon colored, I guess. Oh, and like some teal kind of colors. I'm not sure if you can, yeah. So it's an interesting texture. And it's an interesting kind of thing going on here. My initial thought was that this part here wouldn't show up very well, but on camera it looks pretty good. Like you can actually tell that there's ribbing there. I think once I block this, it'll really open, like it'll stay open like that. Cause like right now it's, you can't really even tell that a ribbing, like it's ribbing there. I made a couple of modifications to this. I didn't want to do, okay, so I think there was like a 1x1 ribbing that had a Italian bind off, but there was no way I'm gonna do an Italian bind off with this combination of yarn. It was already really finicky to unpick, or not unpick, but like, what was I doing? Oh, when I was trying to undo the bind off on my swatch the first time, I was like, no, this is awful. The tweedy bits make it really hard to get through the loops and to undo it. And so I figured if I was going to do an Italian bind off, that would just drive me nuts. So instead of doing a 1x1 ribbing, I did a folded hem, but like I don't know, I'm not liking the way that this kind of turned out. So we'll see what happens when I block it. If like when I wear it, it sits flat, like it sits flat on my neck. But if it continues to like flop open, I will probably go back and do maybe a 2x2 rib. And then I did a folded hem on the sleeves as well. And I'm really hoping that it'll block out more nicely than it already is, or like it's not, yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on my finishing so far. And I'm on the last, I gotta knit 10 more rows before I do the folded hem on the bottom here as well. Which is gonna be an endeavor and a half, because this yarn is very difficult to see the, like, which purl bump you're supposed to be sewing, or not sewing, but knitting into when you do the folded hem. So I had quite an experience trying to get these sleeves done. with the folded hem. Oh my gosh, the number of times I would get like 20 stitches out only to find out that I had skipped a row, like 10 stitches back, and then I would have to undo it and redo it. It was kind of driving me nuts. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having this done. It's so close. Again, I probably have maybe a couple hours left of work on this, and then I would be able to weave in the ends, get it blocked, and have it in time to wear before the weather starts to turn. Like I said, it's almost mid-August right now, so I've still got at least another month and a half. Like, it doesn't really cool down until October here, so I think I'll be okay. All right, I've got 2 more works in progress. The next one I'm going to talk about is the Maia Summer Top, and this is a pattern by Bella Helms. So this is a pattern that I have had on my list for at least 2 years now, and I finally cast it on this year. The yarn that I'm using for it is Sadness Yarn Thin Lena. So it's, no, I gotta get my face out of here. Thin Lena. And I don't think it had the colorway on this one. Yeah, it doesn't, it just has a number, 6061. But in any case, oh, actually, yeah, so it's the Thin Lena, basically. And I want to say I'm over halfway done, I think, at this point, or I'm just about halfway done. So this one's got an interesting construction. Kind of will be hard to show you, but this is a tank top, and it is knit flat. And then at some point, I'm assuming I seam it up. I didn't read that far into the pattern yet. I figure I would take it one step at a time and just go with the flow. I'm sure it probably would have benefited me to read the entire pattern first before jumping into it, but here we are. So it's got different panels here. So there's like seed stitch, stockinette, more seed stitch, or moss stitch, I guess. I don't know what it's called in the pattern. There's some lace there, and then there's, in the middle, there's just one cable section. Hard to see. So I did a gauge swatch for this, and I liked the swatch that I had. I liked the gauge that I was getting, but it was off of the pattern gauge. I figured I didn't want to go any looser than this because this is already pretty, like you can kind of already see me behind this. And so what I did was I looked at the amount of stitches for each size or I guess the stitches per inch, and then the overall size of each size. That's kind of redundant. In any case, I figured out that size 4 is what would fit me in the end with the number of stitches for my gauge. And so I'm hoping I did my math right. I won't be able to try this on until it's done, basically, because I think I've got 2 more repeats to do, or maybe it's 1.5 more repeats to do before I separate for the front and the back, or not separate, but like I start doing the triangles for the front and the back, because I think this is a reversible pattern, so you can technically wear the like the cable and lace part in the front, or the part that gets seamed up, like this part here. I think there's supposed to be like you knit a band, a faux button band or something. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I didn't read that far into the pattern. I just know that there's supposed to be buttons, and I'm not sure if it's like an actual button band or a fake button band. Because I think I do remember reading something about it being, you could use it as a real button band, or you could just sew it together and then just put buttons on top to make it look like it's a button band. If that makes sense. Anyway, sorry, I keep fiddling around with it. So right now I've got it, oops. It's an interesting construction to knit something flat and then seam it up at the end. As for a tank top, just seems a little strange, but I'm here for it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I feel like if anything goes awry, I'll be able to figure something out with it. If anything, like I have enough, what is that? I'm on my second skein right now, and I have a third skein, and I feel like I don't think I'm even going to crack into the third one, so if anything, I could probably figure something out with that extra skein to make the top work if it doesn't work the way that it's supposed to. But anyways, oh yeah, so we'll talk about my last work in progress. So the last one that I have to show is another Rota jumper, and this is a pattern by Irene Lin. The yarn that I'm using for this is Lion Brand Trubu, which apparently you can't find at Michael's anymore. So I think I have enough left. I'm on the sleeves right now. So this is what I've got. Where am I? Ah, here we go. So this is where I'm at. And I had a little bit of a hiccup with this one. I accidentally knit the body too long. I did it like one more repeat than I was supposed to. And when I tried it on, I was like, uh-oh, this is not cropped like I wanted it to be. And so I had put it aside for quite some time because I didn't want to have to deal with undoing it and picking up the stitches again, because this yarn is super slippery. Like it's 100% rayon from bamboo, so it's just, not only is it slippery, but it's also like very splitty. I'm not sure if I would be able to like show it, but like there's a lot of like individual strands. Oh, I can't pull apart. But there's points points during the project where I accidentally slip through and like go through the yarn instead of, I don't know, I split the plies, and it's really annoying. And then I'll find out on the next row that I have to drop the stitch down and pick up all the plies again. It's not my favorite thing to work with. I have some more in my stash that I think I'm just gonna destash because I don't know. I knit a couple of tank tops like last year, the year before out of this, and it worked okay, but that was mostly stockinette. Doing lace work with this yarn has been a little bit annoying, but anyways. So I'm on the first sleeve, and I've got this much left in this ball. I'm hoping that it'll be enough to finish the sleeve because I don't want to have to knit or weave in more ends. So we'll see how that goes. But I realized looking at my other Rota jumper that I actually did the neckline wrong on this one. I don't know why, but I did a 1x1 rib, and then I did an Italian bind off. It's supposed to be, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a 2x1 rib, because I think it's supposed to match what's on the body, and I'm pretty sure the sleeves are going to have the same thing. That's fine. I'm not going to go back and undo it because I think it looks perfectly okay. I honestly didn't realize it until I saw my other Rota jumper that it wasn't supposed to be like that. So I believe I'm knitting the size 2. I'm knitting it on 4mm needles. So this is, I think the pattern is originally on 5mm needles, but I went down a whole needle size. Like I went down from 5 to 4 because I wanted this to be a little bit, I wanted it to be smaller and more cropped, more fitting. I mean, it's still oversized, but it's not as like oversized as my other one. So yeah, that's why I went down to a 4mm. And yeah, that's where I'm at with this one. I think that's, oh yeah, so when I had to tear out the extra repeats that I did, I had another set of needles. I guess it was these ones here. I've got too many threads. So I basically took another set of needles, size down. I went to I have a 3mm needle here, and I threaded through the one leg of all the stitches all the way around, and the yarn is so slippery and so splitty that, like, you know, I put in the afterthought lifeline, essentially ripped back to where I was, and then I found out, oh, I have to like manually tink back 2 rows because I messed up and went like 1 or 2 rows further than I needed to. Which is fine. Usually when I undo things like that and I put an afterthought lifeline in, there's always a chance that I did skip a row somewhere and then I have to like manually tink back, which is fine because then I can remount all my stitches the correct way, because for some reason, every time I put in or half the time when I'm putting in an afterthought lifeline, I pick up the wrong leg, and so I have to remount all the stitches anyway. Not a big deal. I'm sure one of these days I'll remember which leg you're supposed to pick up when you're doing an afterthought lifeline, and I won't have to go back and manually readjust all of my stitches. I don't mind it. I don't mind spending the extra time doing that. So it's not a huge deal. All right. So that is all of my works in progress. Now I want to talk about, oh yeah, I just need to go over a couple of things before I end the episode. I'm already at an hour right now, and I feel like I've kind of like blasted through this. I really want to start filming more often so that I don't have so much to go through every time I sit down. I was like, oh no, it's been like 2 months since my last podcast and I have so much to catch up with. But anyways, so the first thing I want to talk about is the winners of the giveaway from my last video. I actually ended up pulling 2 names. And so the giveaway basically was just, you just had to comment on the video. I think it was like, and let me know what your favorite summer knit was, or what you're planning on knitting this summer, whether it's summer garments or you're already looking towards, you know, knitting other things. And there was a lot of new to me patterns and a lot of new to me designers that were mentioned in the comments. And so that was really fun. And so I sat down and did a YouTube comment generator thing. And the 2 winners that I picked out, or not that the 2 winners that the random generator thing picked out, and I'll put them on the screen here. The first one was Adventurer Knits, and she actually has a podcast here on YouTube as well, so I'll link that down below. And yeah, so when her name popped up, I was like, oh yeah, I know her. I don't personally know her, but I follow her on YouTube, so that was really fun to have that pop up. And then the second winner is Leslie Wigby 4284, I think is what I wrote down. Oh yeah, my pen must have stopped working on the 8 because it almost looks like a 3, but I'm sure it's Leslie Wigby 4284, and it'll be on the screen here. And so if your name is popped up here, so Adventurer Knits or Leslie Wigby, feel free to message me on Instagram and let me know that that's you, that you won the thing. And the prize is essentially just a pattern of your choice from Ravelry, up to I think like $15 Canadian, which I think is like maybe $11, $12 US or something like that, if that helps. Give or take $1 or $2, that's fine. But yeah, so contact me, ideally over on Instagram. That's probably the most ideal place because I get notifications there. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the winners. And then the last thing I want to talk about is really exciting. It is going to be, this September is going to be the 3rd annual Irene Lin Knitalong. And I'm hosting this again with Faith from Fiber Fables, also known as the.redhead.knits on Instagram. I know she's been a little busy in the last several months, so she hasn't been around on YouTube very much, but she still is posting semi-regularly on her Instagram. But I reached out to Faith and asked her if she wanted to co-host the knit along with me again. We always have so much fun knitting Irene Lin's patterns. And yeah, last year was fantastic. The first year was awesome as well. And so it's like, we feel like it's kind of our annual tradition now to do a knit along in the fall/winter. And so the Irene Lin Knit Along is going to start on September 1st and run until December 31st of this year. And there will be a discount code for a pattern from Irene Lin. I was extremely nervous about reaching out and, you know, messaging Irene Lin and letting her know that, hey, like, I'm doing this knit along. I was wondering if you might offer a small discount to my viewers. And she replied and she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And like the discount was more than I anticipated. So, sorry, I'm getting like really ahead of myself and too excited here. Okay. It was a really nice conversation that I had with Irene. And so the coupon code that she has given me, or the discount code that she gave me, is Jenny30, all caps. I'll put that on the screen as well so that you know that is the coupon code. And so on Ravelry, if you go to Irene Lin's designer page, you can use that coupon code. I think it's just once per person on any of her patterns on Ravelry, and that'll get you 30% off of the pattern cost. So I think that's I was like, amazing. I was like, wow, like 30%, that's, I feel like that's a pretty substantial discount. So, so really looking forward to that. What else can I say? Oh yeah, my plan, fingers crossed, is that I'm gonna do another annual Irene Lin video for my channel, and hopefully I will have that posted before the Knitalong starts. If not, then that first day that the Knitalong starts. So I'll be going over my Irene Lin patterns again and basically talking about, I might not go over like last year I did every pattern that I knit. I think this year I'm just going to pick a handful of the ones that I like and then go through some of her design catalog and kind of talk about designs that I would like to knit, or, you know, we'll add to my list of Irene Lin patterns that I want to knit someday. But yeah, I think that's all I needed to talk about, or all I had to talk about. Sorry again that I feel like I'm out of breath, like I've sped through this whole thing. And I know I talk a lot with my hands and I move around a lot. I'm very fidgety. I think it's just because this is my second time filming this that I've had such issues with this particular episode that yeah, I won't even go into it. Okay, I'm gonna stop waffling on. I keep going off on tangents and catching myself coming back and be like, oh, wait a second, I should probably end the video now. And so I just want to say thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to making my next video, which like I said, will be the annual Irene Lin Knitalong video. And yeah, so that's, fingers crossed, that's going to be the next thing that's posted on my channel. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. So I'll stop here and let you guys go. So until next time, happy knitting. Bye!